Take 2. Let's try this again. Okay, so if anybody hops on here, please tell me if you can hear me and see me okay. I decided to turn off my Wi-Fi because I'm no longer near my house, and so I thought maybe that could be impacting some of the issues from the previous video. So I am hanging out in my car enjoying the lovely weather. I've been looking forward to it being warm forever, and I'm so incredibly excited that I'm able to be in a tank top and flip-flops. I don't know about anybody else, but the thing that I wanted to talk about is kind of a reoccurring, hi whoever's on, a reoccurring theme that I've noticed that's been coming up a lot for people when they're chatting with me, and I thought it would be really important to talk about. It's something that I work now with my clients who are going to be doing one-on-one coaching with me, but also we do little chats like this whenever I'm doing energy work with people. And so I really wanted to like fill everybody in on why we feel really powerless when we could feel really powerful. Hi Daniel. So if you hop on and you happen to watch this, please just comment anytime that you want. If you have questions, let me know that you're on here. Say hi so I can say hi to you. And if you catch the replay later, just hashtag replay. I realize that people are probably working. So I totally get it if you cannot hang on. Hi Wendy. So one of the reasons that we tend to feel very powerless is when we don't have control, right? So I think that in our day-to-day life, we feel really good when we can control things. And when we can't control things, that's whenever we start feeling really, really bad. The issue with this is that, sorry, my hair's gonna be crazy because I have my sunroof and everything open. I'm so enjoying the weather and I can't get enough of this, so it's just gonna be kind of crazy. But we like to control everything, I feel like, most of the time. We like to control, and whenever we don't have control, that's when something feels really, really bad. So one of the things that I have noticed is that we really give a lot of our power away and then feel really bad when that happens and we don't know why. And so that's kind of what I'm going to talk to you guys about today. So what I want you to think about is situations where you realize, and maybe you don't realize it yet, but situations where you blame outer circumstances, people, or things for the results that you're getting in life. So for instance, the common example that I can give you is whenever you're in a really good mood, like right now I'm in an amazing mood because of the weather, and someone comes along who is in a crappy energy, a crappy mood, they've had something bad happen to them or for them or whatever, and now they are venting to you or being grumpy with you or whatever. Hi Brittany. And so in those situations when you're in a really good mood and somebody is in a really bad mood, what do we tend to do? This is the easy example I can give you. We typically adopt their energy and we say, what's your problem? Now you're putting me in a bad mood, right? Because you could be really, really happy and then be around someone who's like down in the dumps and immediately feel like they have ruined your entire day. Like they've just ruined your entire mood. I know that I've been guilty of it several times in the past. Like somebody was grouchy and then I would be like, well, I was in a really good mood and then you made me grouchy. Like, so have you ever done that? So that's an easy situation to think about. Now, here is how I want to take it in depth. When we do even that little minuscule amount of blaming, we are giving our power away, okay? So when I say to someone, well, I was in a really good mood and then your bad mood ruined mine, I'm no longer taking responsibility for the way that I feel, but instead I have now put responsibility on them for how I feel. Now, it doesn't seem really like a big deal, but we do it with numerous things, and we do it with really, really hard times in our life as well, right? So when your partner, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, whatever, your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle says something or does something that you are really, really upset and offended by, it's going to cause you to have thoughts which are going to cause an emotion in your body. And usually it's an emotion of, that's not fair, I don't like that, I don't like the way that you're treating me, I don't like what you're saying to me. Whatever it is, we get really like fired up about it, right? And typically our response, hi Kelsey, is to blame them for the way that we feel. And it feels semi-good to blame someone or something for the result that we're currently having, because then we don't have to take responsibility for it. The issue with that, hi Miss McCollum, I still call you Miss McCollum. I hope that you're doing well. But when we blame someone else or a circumstance for the result that we are getting in life, hi Peyton, we officially hand over all of our control. Now, considering that we are people who like to be in control in general, humans like to, hi Caitlin, oh, thank you for commenting. I was like wondering this whole time if I could even be heard, if anybody could even see me, because I turned off my Wi-Fi and all the things. I'm enjoying the weather. And so thank you for saying hi. If you're on here, say hi. If you catch a replay, or hashtag replay. And if you have any questions, let me know as I'm talking about this. Hi Amanda. So I'm talking about basically the ways that we give up our power and we don't even really realize it. And so one of the easiest examples that I gave was whenever we're in a really good mood, and I gave the example of like today, I'm in a really good mood. Thank you, Caitlin. I'm enjoying the weather. I'm in a tank top. This is all I've waited forever for. Hi, Amanda. And I'm in a really great mood, right? But let's just pretend that my fiance, Cortez, or I went home, or somebody's in like a really bad mood, right? So in that moment, I actually have a choice of whether or not I take on that energy that they're in and say, oh, well, I was in a really good mood, but now you just ruined it. Like, think of how many times you've done that in your life. Like when you're around someone and you're like, oh, happy-go-lucky, and then they come around and they're in the worst mood, and you say something very like innocently in the moment, like, well, you just ruined my mood. Like, I was in a really good mood and then you ruined my mood. Hi, Kelly. And so we do that all the time, but we do it in a lot more serious ways as well. So if we have something happen in our life, we tend to blame outside circumstances, people, things, reasons why we're late, reasons why we can't get something done, reasons why we're in a bad, cranky mood, reasons why life's not fair. I mean, we blame and blame and blame and blame and blame. But here's the issue with it. As human beings, we like to be in control, right? We like to feel like we've got like a handle on our life and things that are going on in the world. Hi, Taylor. Like, hair is going up my nose and all the things. Hi, Sean. And so whenever we blame someone or something for the result that we're getting in life, in that moment, what we have done is completely handed off our control to them. And then we feel worse. So if I have the example of I'm in a really good mood and my fiance comes home and he's in a really bad mood, and I decide to say to him, well, I was in a really good mood and then your bad mood ruined my mood, then I'm blaming him for my bad mood. But he actually has nothing to do with my mood. So the issue in that moment is that I've now handed over all the emotional control that I had and have, and I've now gifted it to him. So when we blame, we become instantly powerless, right? Because we take that emotional responsibility of being in charge of our thoughts, being in charge of our emotions, and whoever we're blaming it on, or whatever we're blaming it on, we're saying, here's all of my control. I'm gonna hand it to you so that you can fix it. And then we become more frustrated because guess what? They can't. And why can't they fix it? Because it's not their thoughts that are causing the emotion. It's our thoughts that are causing the emotion. So this goes back to something that I talk about all the time in my lives, if you catch them often, or whether this is your first time, is that in life we are presented with a circumstance or circumstances. And depending on those circumstances, that we then have a thought, and that thought creates creates to, contributes to the emotion that we will feel in our body, and then the emotion that we feel in our body creates to the action that we will or will not take, which contributes to our results in life. And that's with every single thing on the planet, right? So whenever something happens in life and I decide to, hi Allison, hi Mallory, when I decide to blame someone or someone else or something for how I feel, I don't feel good, right? Because what I've done is I've literally, hi Jolie, given up all of my emotional control, and I've now handed it to them on a platter, and now I expect them to fix it, and they can't. They cannot emotionally fix it because they don't live in my body. They do not have the same thoughts that I have, therefore they don't know how. And then we get more frustrated with our partner, our spouse, our mom, our dad, our aunt, our uncle, our sister, our brother, because then when we've blamed them and we've given away all the control and power that we had to fix it, which all it would have taken was a thought, once we give it away to them, then we don't have the control, so we feel bad because now we're like, well, great, I can't even fix it because I gave it to them, and they can't fix it because they don't really know what's wrong. I mean, they can hear you out all day long, but at the end of the day, they don't live in your body. So we're giving them an impossible task. So I want you to think about this in whatever way. Like anytime you blame your husband, anytime you blame your wife, anytime you blame your boyfriend, girlfriend, aunt, uncle, sister, dog, I don't even care what it is, but when you blame someone else for how you feel, you have officially come from the most powerless place. You have given up all your power, all of your control to fix it. And you've handed it to someone who does not live in your body, who does not know how to fix it, which is what causes more frustration. And then we pick the fight with them, right? Because we're like, you should understand. You should understand how I feel. You should understand how to fix it. You should understand all the things. And they don't. And so that's where a lot of the tension comes in. Now, hi Kimberly. So in order to maintain control of your emotions, you have to realize that the way that you're feeling isn't coming from whatever that person did or is doing as much as it's coming from the thought that you're having about what they're doing. Does that make sense? So let me give you an example of this. Hold on, I gotta think for a second. Basically, like what we're doing unintentionally, and I can tell you that I've even changed the way that I OT, I guess, the way that I choose to handle situations as an occupational therapist, because it seems it's like very innocent because it's just learned behavior, right? Like we have been taught from childhood that when somebody hurts our feelings, that they're responsible. So we're taught as children that when someone does something to us and it makes us feel sad, or it makes us feel angry, or it makes us feel disappointed, that it's that person's fault. Hi, Corinne. So we learn from childhood that other people are responsible for our emotions. So that's why we blame so much as adults, because as kids, when someone does something to us and we say, that made me feel really sad, the parent always comes in and says, that person needs to apologize for how you feel. And it's very interesting because we just keep on the cycle, and we teach our kids from that point forward that other people are in charge of our emotions, but it's not true. We're in charge of our emotions. We have to take responsibility for how we feel, and the way that we feel comes from the way that we think. Okay? So this is really important. So I see this all the time. I work with toddlers, and I can tell you that when a toddler pushes down another toddler, I have been the first one to say, oh, you hurt their feelings, go say sorry. And it comes very innocently, right? Because we know that pushing another person is mean and it's not nice. But the issue with that is that then, however, hi Erica, however that toddler feels, we've now taught them that that peer is responsible for how they feel. And then we grow up in life thinking that every other adult is responsible for how we feel. So that would be like blaming I don't know, like let's say you've had a traumatic childhood, or you're having issues with your husband or your wife, and they say something to you and you tell them, like you blame them for the way that you're feeling. It's not actually what they did that is causing that strong feeling in your body. It's the thought that you're having about what they did. That's the reason that it feels so bad. So when you blame and you give your power away on top of that, and then they don't know how to fix it, it just becomes this vicious cycle about not taking responsibility for the way that you feel. Does that make sense? Hi Tanisha, I just saw your little bubble pop up, but it didn't tell me that you were on here. So I've talked about this before because I think that it's a really big thing that gets overlooked a lot, because if we constantly blame other people and outside circumstances for the way that we feel, we can't ever fix the situation, because we go in life being a victim forever. Like you are forever a victim if you're always blaming outside circumstances and people for the way that you are feeling on the inside. And it comes from your thoughts. So an example that I'm going to give you is like, if someone says to you, and this is kind of like a silly example, but it's the best way that I can relay the message. If somebody walked up to you and they said, you have the fattest purple ears I have ever seen in my life. Like, think about the reaction that you're going to have. You're going to be a little bit confused because you know that you don't have big fat purple ears. I know, it sounds crazy, right? But there's a point, I promise. So somebody comes up to you, or your husband says this to you, you have big fat purple ears. You're probably not going to be mad at all. You're probably going to laugh, and you're going to be really confused because you're going to be like, I don't have big fat purple ears. What are you talking about? Like, that's not true. It doesn't impact you at all because nothing about it is true. You don't believe any of it to be true. You look in the mirror, you don't have big fat purple ears, right? So it's not an issue. But if somebody comes up to you and says, you're a bad mom, you're a bad wife, you're a bad teacher, you're overweight, you're too skinny, you're probably going to feel offended, right? But it's not them that caused you to feel offended. This is what I'm trying to break through to everybody. It's not actually them. It's the thought that you have about what they said. That thought created an emotion in your body, and usually that thought, if it creates an emotion in your body, it's because something about it you believe to be true. If you knew 110% that it was not true, it would be like someone walking up to you and saying you have big fat purple ears, and you being like, huh? Big fat purple ears? No, I don't. Like, that doesn't even make sense. That doesn't bother me at all, right? But if someone says something that's mean, that you've thought about, that you've struggled with in your past, that has been emotionally traumatic, maybe something that somebody else teased you about as a kid or whatever, if there's any part of you that believes what they're saying is true, you will feel really bad and frustrated, and you will immediately go to blame. You made me feel this way. It's your fault. Fix it. And they can't. Because no matter where they have come from in saying that thing, and not even saying that it's a nice thing, right, to say, you have to be in charge of your emotions. You're the only one in charge of your emotions. Nobody can fix it for you. You have to take responsibility for it. And the reason that we suffer so much in life is because we're constantly trying to find someone else to blame. And it's the number one cause of suffering, because we blame everything else and we don't know how to take responsibility for ourselves. And I'm preaching to the choir because I was this person. Like, I needed immense coaching to stop blaming outside circumstances, childhood, situations, family for the way that I was and for the way that I felt and for the things that I believed. And once I learned how to take responsibility for it, everything changed. So the things that people say, now I don't say, well, they made me feel that way. Now it's about figuring out, what thoughts am I having about what they said that is causing me to feel this way? Do I believe any of it to be true? What kinds of things do I need to work on in my own life to where that is not an issue? So this is why we feel powerless a lot of times, because we're just handing over something that is really our responsibility. And it's the difference in blaming versus taking responsibility. I had shared this, I think, in a private group, but there's a story about Buddha, and every single day he walks to a market and he has this man shouting like all these mean things to him every single day. And every day he would walk through the market and this same man would just shout all these mean things, insults, bad names, like everything, insult him, just be downright rude. And you know, the Buddha never responded. And so one day he was walking through the village again, and the man actually confronted him and stopped him and said, I shout and yell insults at you every single day. Why in the world don't you respond back? And Buddha responds, if someone tries to give you a gift and you decline, to whom does the gift belong? And that was the most powerful thing that I swear I've ever heard. It is only yours if you own it. So when someone says something to you that is really upsetting, it's only going to manifest itself and be very upsetting if you choose to own what they say as truth. So think about what you actually believe as truth. And the next time you feel all shaken up inside because of something that somebody else did or somebody else said, really think about where that is coming from in your own mind and take responsibility for it. You'll feel a lot better, because the moment that you blame and you give the power away, you're going to feel worse, because then you don't have control to fix it. And that's what you actually want. And so I see this a lot. We do this, you know, we learn this in childhood and then we carry it on to adulthood, and then it just piles on and piles on and piles on, and then it affects your energy. And I see it all the time when I'm working with Reiki clients. And so if this is something that you struggle with, you know, I just want to say it's something really that's worth working on, because it does block energetically your openness to receive and your ability to like really live a healthy, happy life. Being able to take responsibility ends all suffering, and understanding that you have more control than you think. You just have to stop giving it away, and you will live a much happier life. So if you have any questions about this, any comments about this, and you want to private message me about it, feel free. This is what I work one-on-one with my coaching clients on now. It's what I address in a Reiki session when someone has blocked chakras, and we go over how it's manifesting itself in their life. Because what happens when we get blocked energetically is that it can manifest itself into physical ailments. So you could be having like really bad physical symptoms, stomach aches, stomach pain, thyroid problems, migraines, headaches, and you could think that your health is like falling apart for all these external factors, and it can actually be what's going on in the inside, and it's that your energy is not flowing. You've got a block, and you have to work on that to open it up. And then once it's opened up, you can really start to fix all of those things that are going wrong, if that makes sense. I know that's kind of like energy work kind of goes over people's head, and that's okay. Like if you have questions, just message me. But basically you want everything in flow. And when we get in our head and we're blaming outer circumstances and all the things, we really kind of lose ourselves, and we block ourselves from all the good that we could have going on in our life. And then it manifests itself in ways that doesn't serve us. And so it's inner work. It's an inner journey, and it's something that is really hard. I'm not going to lie and say that it's easy. I've been at this for several years, and I'm still learning, and I still practice it every single day. But it can get better, I promise you. So if you have questions, let me know. Thank you, Erica. I love this topic too. It's like one of my favorite things, because it's been the biggest life changer when you realize that you are always in control. You're in the driver's seat. So next time somebody ticks you off or makes you feel bad, or you feel yourself starting to blame somebody else for the way that you feel, remember that it's actually because of your own thoughts creating that emotion in your body, and take your control back and figure out how you can fix it. And if you need any help or any advice, please reach out to me. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Bye guys, enjoy this beautiful day.